bad bitch, I'm a bad bitch, one.
And all them, I feel like they get so lean.
Well, and I also think like
all the time.
I also feel like she's so experienced and she already has the size. And I feel like when you're that far into your career, like each off season, because like even think about the off seasons you've had. Like I know when I was 180 here, it looked nothing like it does.
I've been
now.
180.
Yeah.
I've been 180 a time or two. It's never looked good. It's never looked good.
It will this year.
I've never seen anything past 154 in my life. Even getting above
I read that this morning.
But I mean, you keep getting bigger. I mean,
because I'm so
you
light
need
bone.
to.
Like I start off the skinny kind, so light bone.
Yeah.
So I started like 108, 110.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Right there with you. I started at like 112-ish, I want to say. 112, 115.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm taller. So I think I was always kind of hovering around like the 140s. I might have been skinny fat and started at like 135, but I feel like for most of my adult life, I've been like 140, 150.
That'd be like my stage weight.
Shit, that's my stage weight too.
Well, my first stage weight was 110, and then I moved to. What did I read my pro card at? I think it was 117. And my pro debut last year was 125.
Damn.
Okay, yeah. That's pretty dang good. Think about it.
It's still below the 130s.
I know people that are powerhouses at 130, and it blows my brain to see them with like really capped shoulders. I'm like, you take this big, like 130.
Like, where's the bone?
Yeah.
Apparently they don't need them, and you know what? That's okay. That's okay.
So
it's just a short
today, I didn't mean to cut you off.
So time out. Let's restart.
Maybe we should give the people like just a little summary because
let them
know what they're getting into before we just dive right in. But I am staring at some beautiful comparison pictures of the two of you and myself. So we're gonna what we've done is we're all kind of coming. Well, Tanya's kind of wrapping up a little mini prep. We'll get into that. And Haley and myself are kind of finishing up the first push in our off season. So we've kind of compared from like end of March. Is that fair to say? I know I was like end of March.
Yeah, mine was like February, March-ish.
Okay. I'll say mine's more beginning of March, to be honest. Okay. I think mine's like March 4th or 5th.
Okay. March.
It's March. Sorry.
March to Pacific. Yeah, March to present. And we're going to kind of just talk about what we've done this off season to get here, kind of touch on Haley and I did a reverse, of course, and then looking at our pictures, kind of just seeing what improvements we've made, what's working, what we can kind of tweak and improve for the rest of the year. So let me share my screen real quick.
Yes, moving and grooving.
Thank you, girls, for waking up for me.
Oh,
we can always.
I quite like this.
I would be up anyway, and I would be up talking to you girls. So we might as well just.
I quite like this. I may look tired, but I like it.
Sweet.
So here are the three of us.
Oh, look at us go! It looks so cute with all the.
I know.
Color coding.
I'm not gonna lie. I made my initial
black
comparisons, and I was like, which one goes on the right side? Which one goes on the left?
And that's kind of like what I meant this morning, is that like, because when I was looking at mine, I was like, you're always hard on yourself. You're always like, have I done enough? And it's like doing the day-to-day work. Like I really have no doubt that I've done enough. But I think then sometimes, when you look, you're like, is that normal progress to make? And I think that's what I was saying this morning about how I think it'll be really helpful for more people to see this, because like we're not necessarily constantly sharing transformation pictures. So it's like no one really knows what a normal amount of progress is.
Yeah.
And I still say we're probably in brackets where we're slightly above average even. So just to give people kind of a general consensus of kind of what to expect in an off season. Or just like a growth phase.
Yeah. And I think it's important too to kind of, because like if we hadn't been doing this, just the other week I was putting my pictures side by side, kind of like, okay, like let's see what I've accomplished. Let's see what's working. Let's see what I can maybe change. So I think it's really important, like, trust your coach, yes, but at the same time, it's not really their job to do all these side by sides like every other week. It's kind of the responsibility of you too to like make sure you're progressing the way you want to, because your coach might look at you and be like, all right, you look great, but they're not necessarily filing back in their encyclopedia of their brain to be like, is this a good amount of progress? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like you're making progress. It's just compared to 2 months ago, like where are you really at?
Yeah.
In comparison.
So Tanya, would you like to kind of just touch on, because Haley and I, we have a very similar timeline. So I think we can kind of touch on like, how we structured our reverse. Do you want to give kind of a summary of what you've been doing in the span of these pictures?
Okay, so the span of these pictures was like February to recent. Like these were this morning. I just literally took my check-ins this morning. I think my timeline is about 2.5 months ahead of the both of you, because I finished my show on the 29th of September last year.
Oh, so you're kind of, we're not too far.
Okay. We're not far off, actually.
Don't make me feel bad. Don't make me feel bad.
Just let me think about that.
Mine is a little bit of a strange one, because I was like reversing into my show because I got ready ahead fast. And this always happens to me. Like I will speed up so quick towards the end of my prep that I always have to tell Justin, and then I say, sorry. I'll say like, I don't feel good. Like I know that I'm hitting that point where I'm like borderline. If we continue this way, we will over diet me. So I'm just giving you like a rough idea how my prep went, and then so that you'll understand how all my off seasons were usually set up, because it's always based off how my body responds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So so the first day, like I was like just dropping like 3 to 4 pounds easy, and I told him, I gave him the appropriate feedback, and he said, okay, let's add some carbs into your base plan. And he added just 30 grams of carbs. And then I wanted to tell him at that point and say, like, my man, it ain't gonna work. But of course, I don't want to be the kind of client to say like I need more food. So I just went with it. And then the next day I told him I dropped another 1 or 2 pounds. And he added another like maybe like 75 to 50 grams of carbs. And then, but I can feel it. So I told him, I was like, I think I need a burger. But this is the only time. It's the only time I tell Justin, then I need a burger, because I have an idea, how my body was by then. So, but of course, I just followed through. And no, he was adamant at the point. He said, you do not need a cheat meal. So I was like, okay, I don't need a cheat meal. And then the next day, it continued to happen. And he went on and on. And he was like, okay, yeah, you know what? You're right. You do need a ton of stuff. So I said, okay, is this cheat meal on top of like 300 grams of carbs and fat that I'm having, or is it replacing a meal? And he was like, oh no, you add it on top of that. So I was eating from like 8 a.m. At the moment 8 a.m. happened, I got my cardio done. And it was on a rest day. He wanted it on a rest day. So it happened to be on a Sunday, so it was my rest day. So I had like a whole, at 8 a.m., I just started shoving a Pop-Tart in my mouth. Like I wake up at 8 a.m. and grab a Pop-Tart and put it in my mouth. And I was eating all the way. And he doesn't know this, but I was eating all the way. I had to finish all that food. So I was eating all that way until 1 a.m. because I had to finish all my food. And my stomach shrinks on prep. You know, I don't know if you girls have your stomach shrinking on prep, but it happens for me. So, you know, I had to like eat it pretty slowly. But at that point, you know, your eyes are bigger than the food.
Mm-hmm.
And then your stomach. So sometimes, you know, like, yeah.
And sorry, this was to peak you? This was during prep? Or
this was like 2.5 to 3 weeks out.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, which so the next day I went back up maybe like another 2 pounds. And then he was like just able to hold me there.
Okay.
Yeah, with like baseline like 300 to 300 200 grams of carbs, but we're just like 300 350. And because it was already there, so that's where I'm coming to my reverse, right? So coming to my reverse, when most people would have a reverse, I don't know if you want to put it because it was like on a like push up and push up and push up and push up. So I would say like, you know, it's like almost like a push up phase just started the moment the show finished. Because as like the highest that my off season went, so like the photo that you see on the right side, the one in the black bikini, that's like I was like maybe like 550 grams of carbs. I mean, he gives a meal plan, but the macros are at the bottom, the total calories. So 550 and my fat was easily sitting at like 120 grams. So it's like around 4,500 calories. About.
Wow.
Hold on, I might need to clarify something because I have noticed this happen before. Are you looking at are you on the right in the black bikini on your monitor?
What do you mean?
You said the black bikini on the right, and I've noticed sometimes
left.
Oh, okay. Because I've noticed sometimes after these get uploaded, like my face flips. So I was like, oh shit, I might need to add a disclaimer.
Sorry, it was just my mistake. Yeah.
Okay.
We're in 2 different bikinis, so we're good. I know which one she's talking about.
Well, no, sometimes I've noticed like after these get uploaded that my face is like flipped. So in any case, the pink bikini is present day, people. So
yeah, in case they need clarification.
Yeah, so sorry. Carry on.
Yeah, so coming out of the reverse, maybe the first couple of weeks, maybe the first 2 weeks, I would jump easily by like maybe like sometimes 5 to 6 pounds per week, and he was like completely cool with that because I'm able to just naturally always stay lean through the off seasons, and you really got to like push it with me for me to kind of like get fat. So this is my fat, but I look back and I'm like, oh shit, I was fat.
No, not even close.
Tanya.
Not even close.
Look at the face, like, oh wow. Because you look at me now, like, oh wow.
I think that's what bothers me the most is the face.
I was gonna say Jess is the face for sure that bothers her. I know that.
Yeah.
I like a little fat on the face, ladies. I don't know what's wrong with it. It's youthful.
No, because you know sometimes like when you come off, like, you know, when you come off the stuff, right? The cycle, and then you have a bit of an estrogen rebound, and when your menstrual cycle comes back, there is
it's always like this part of your face to the bottom.
So there comes, you know, your period is coming, you can feel it when your estrogen is a little bit higher, or maybe the progesterone. If you're just a little bit more swollen that day, it just makes it worse for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But we just deal with it. It just goes away. You just tell yourself,
But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look bad.
Yeah, nobody can notice.
Or just a touch dramatic sometimes.
Yeah.
But I realize it doesn't look that bad. It doesn't even look bad, period. I don't even know why I say that bad. It doesn't look bad. The link goes wrong with that. It looks great.
Yeah.
I'm not even looking at your face, so I'll be honest.
Yeah, also valid.
I'm looking at everything else. I'm like,
you girls are sweet.
Dreamy.
Yeah, so I had my cardio shaved off from like maybe 35 minutes. Because like during prep, to the end, we were just like having me 35, 30, just treadmill walks a day into peak week. But the highest my cardio has really ever gone was just like maybe 30 minutes treadmill in the morning and just another 30 in the evening. And that would run for maybe like 3 times a week. And then the other 4 days of the week would be just maybe like 35 minutes of the Stairmaster in the morning. So this is as high as my cardio has gone. And then he shaved it off to maybe like just 4 times a week of 20 minutes. And that's what I've been riding on like for this whole year, even into my push, like the highest of this push-up and to the recent. So so between both photos, to just give that body recomposition, because he just wanted to tidy things up a little bit better, just maybe raising protein a little bit, lowering the fat just slightly and pulling off the carbs. So if you will, it's replacing some of the protein with the carbs. But I guess overall calories are just a little bit lower as well.
Yeah, but just so much, really.
Yeah, so just to reiterate, like between these two pictures is more of a little cleanup phase, if that's what you want to call it. Not like the full push up like you'll see with Haley and I.
Yeah, because
we need to make sure people
the show he was just like raising food. So I wouldn't say that I had like a reverse and like a clear, like it was like reverse and then a clear push up like your Justin has with the both of you, because mine was just like right out.
But your body handles it very well, though. Mine would not.
Yeah,
mine would not.
But I'm also thinking if it's like a training thing, because he had me switch to like a 3 days on, 1 day off kind of training. So I think I've showed Jess before, and I think after this pod I'll show it to you, Haley, as well. I think like because my Justin's style, it's a lot more volume. So of course, when you have a lot more volume, you would be able to be more sensitive, and if you put it, your body would be in this super compensation with food, especially the carbohydrates. So he rather, in a way, like he doesn't say it to me, but with the approach, I can understand where he's coming from. It's like, I rather you do more volume, if that makes sense, and really hammer the training, than actually have to keep your cardio high in the off season. If you can handle it. But I think it's just me at the same time.
No, I used to train like that. I've done every style of training, I think, for the most part, like high volume. I've done low volume, heavy stuff, more moderate weight, more volume. It all works. It just depends what works best for you.
Yeah.
And obviously it works very well for you. So,
but I do find that maybe like even after just 6.5, 7 weeks, I definitely need a deload. Like I can feel it.
Which is good though. I feel like you should still be getting to that point regardless of the volume.
Yeah, so my focus this off season was mainly, like a lot of mainly glutes and hamstrings and the arms, because the feedback coming from the show was, my Tarek judged my show and he said you need a lot more back, and then he just said it like that, so we were all a little bit confused, like back, like did you mean back side or back? Because I'm not tooting my own horn, but when I look at my phone, I'm
I'll toot it.
Yeah,
I'll toot it.
The back
side. So I told Justin, I think he meant the back side. You do need a lot more.
Yeah, just like posterior chain in general.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
maybe just balance from top. But
there's my arms are long. Like my arms are long, so if I don't fill that part up, and the bigger your shoulders are, the smaller the arms look. So it's not that we need big arms, but especially in our back poses, and I think maybe like Haley as well, even if it's not like a back double bicep, like just a back relax, like just standing there like that, you need kind of like that weird tricep to just a little bit,
So how many how many times per week would you be hitting like glutes and hams?
Okay, so I have one full leg day, and then the other one is like just glutes and hamstrings.
Okay.
So it's essentially twice. It's a 3 days on, 1 day off rotation. So I'll hit like back, and then lower body, and then it's shoulders and arms, and then it's on repeat. But it'll be a different workout.
Okay.
Every 3 days. Yeah. Sorry if I rambled too much.
No, not at all. I think that's the context we need. I think it helps to say like, okay, here's the pictures. Here's what I did to get to the starting point, and then here's what I did between the left and the right, you know?
I think if there's anything, I think if there's anything maybe I could share just for the listeners to have like a better takeaway, because I guess they wanted to hear a little bit of the mindset kind of thing. So it's not that, I think we can come to the agreement. I think the three of us have spoken about it before. We're not super food focused people. But I will say one thing, personally for me, when food gets high, and sometimes you have to be a lot more mindful with your time management, because if you're rushing to eat, and then it's not that I have wanted to do it, but I have considered it before, because I was just, there are a couple of days that it's so hard for me to eat. Like you have in mind, like, make sure I just grab a sushi, or like, I just high carbs in randomly from elsewhere just to fill up the calories, which is honestly not a good thing to do. So don't do that.
Yeah, like I feel like you're someone who could get away with that. So it's important too to say like the three of us, even just the three of us, have like such different metabolisms too.
Yeah.
But sorry, go ahead. Time management.
Yeah, no. So I wouldn't say that my challenge the off season was eating itself per se, but with the time and everything, like I just had to really be better at it, so that I don't come to a point where I'm like trying to cram it. Even though digestion, I don't have an issue, but you will want to kind of like reach for stuff, even though I know I can probably get away with it, but it's just, even if it doesn't manifest physically for you, it's just not good for the insides.
Exactly. That, and it's kind of like it's very easy to turn that into a habit, I would think too. It's like, oh, I had a little snack here, or I went a little off the other day and it was fine, so it'll be fine too. And I think people say this a lot, and it's so cliche, but it's so true, is like, I'm pretty sure the difference between like prep and off season is literally just like difference in cardio and food quantities and drugs maybe. But as far as like the way we structure our lives, I would say we're all, whether it's off season or prep, we're like exactly the same. As we eat at these times, we do our cardio at these times, we train at these times, sure, with like slight deviation due to schedule, and maybe off season gives you a little more of that flexibility. But I think the sooner you can adapt that, like, this is my meal plan, this is what I do mentality, like off season shouldn't feel overwhelming. It shouldn't feel overwhelming and like suddenly you're on lockdown when you start prep. It's like literally just changing the title. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
absolutely. Like changing the end goal, really.
Yeah.
It's the same thing though. Hate to break it to everybody.
Well, the good thing about prep is that everyone can take the chance to get that schedule, being really organized, because prep gets you extra organized, and then you can just carry that off into the off season. Because I know a lot of people, like you mentioned just now, Jess, it's really easy to make like reaching food to make calories as a really bad habit, because I see that very often. And I also see the moment like prep is over, like the schedule just let go of, which is such a waste, don't you think?
Yeah. And that reverse, like we might as well touch on reversing too. It's like, I think a lot of people talk very negatively about it. And to be honest with you, like it's one of my favorite times, because like you're starting to get a little more food, like you get pumps, you look pretty fucking cool, honestly. I think the thing is like everyone talks down about it so much that then there's kind of like this fear surrounding it. I don't think it's anything to fear so much as like, be aware that just because prep is over doesn't mean like you get to go raid the grocery store and get all the treats that you haven't had. Because let's be real, like you shouldn't be doing that in off season anyway.
Oh yeah, true. That's true. But I also understand that everybody's definition of balance and where bodybuilding is in their lives will always differ. But okay, this is just me, right? Like from what I feel is that if you really want to be elite in something, there is not really a conventional balance that you would define balance to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because even off season right now, we're living and breathing this thing. Because the three of us, we do want to see ourselves going somewhere in this. So it's not like off season, it's really off where you're like not exact, you're just like training just here and there. But I know there are a lot of people like that because maybe it just doesn't hold the same kind of weight. But I do feel that if this is something you really want to do to go far in, then there is not that sort of balance that you would expect to have.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess everyone's definition of balance is just different.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I think it's kind of like a bit of a touchy topic for some people because it's hard to come to that reality that if you do want to be very good at this, the balance kind of goes to the wayside in the traditional sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that's why I also tell women, especially, I was like, if you don't find joy and like just have a good time doing this, you're going to be so miserable. Because
You're right.
it requires you to do this for 99% of people.
Because you're right. Like, even if I wasn't competing anymore, let's say I had to hang out, I would still be doing all this. I still want to take my check-ins and see the improvements from week to week.
Me too. I like my little 1 weekly day of validation from my coach just to make sure I don't look awful. And same thing, I want to say when I first started reversing for a bit, putting the suit on's a little tough.
Yeah.
You got to see it and you're like, ugh, I don't know. This is the first time I've kind of looked at my two progress things and I was like, okay, we didn't completely blow out some areas that I thought we kind of blew out, like in a bad way.
Isn't it funny?
In a bad way.
Sometimes, like, I'll put my suit on and just feel like I'm spilling out everywhere.
Oh,
And somehow I look at the picture and I'm just like, oh, it could be a lot worse.
The way I'd be like tucking in little things, I feel like, to the suit. Not for you nasty people. I'm not talking about tucking things in the lower region. I'm talking about like a love handle. Like maybe I can like pull this over the love handle and make it look like it's just part of my glute.
Yeah, in prep it's easy just to be like, the suit is on. If it's crooked, it's fine. Whereas like in off season, it's like, how do I arrange this for the best outcome?
I feel like your check-ins also take significantly longer to take. And maybe that's just me because I'm very hypercritical.
Same.
In a prep, I feel like you're like, yeah, this looks good. Even a bad pose, you're like, this looks good. And then once you get a little chunky, it's, well, that looks pretty bad. Actually, I'm going to retake that.
Let me change the exposure a little bit.
Let me open another window. Maybe make it darker, actually. Close a window.
Let me wait another hour when the lighting is a little bit better.
Right. Honestly, do you guys, this might be a very weird nuance, but I want to yap with the girls. Do you take them first thing when you roll out of bed, or do you kind of run through some rounds and you take the photos at the end of doing rounds?
Right off the bat.
Okay.
And then if I don't like it, I get a second round and a third round, and I realize I look better in the second round. Or sometimes you look even better in the first round, and you're like, shit. And I wasn't even happy with it. It gets worse and worse. And you're like, you know what? Mm-hmm. Fuck it.
Like my lines look better first roll out, but I get better as I pose, and I feel like I look a little fuller.
Okay.
But then some of my lines kind of go, especially in the off season. Like the more you pose, the more I'm like, nah. But the size wise, it looks good. You look fuller. I don't know if that's just me, but then I start sweating a little bit. It just looks better. So
like, I don't have the energy to do this again.
I don't either, but I'm like, this is my one day.
Yeah.
And by golly, we're staying till the routine looks good. Like I'm staying because I just can't send a shitty photo. And then you're like, why are you hunched over like a hunchback in this photo? I'd rather just wait. But sometimes, yes, I feel like the differences in my photos is literally just me posing longer.
Okay.
And like actually getting kind of warmed up in prep. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's like the first set of photos and I send those out. Because they look fine. You look good. And you're like, oh yeah, my stomach looks tight. Everything's good. Off season, not so much.
Your arms look like they have doubled in size.
I was just going to say that.
Thank you.
Like your arms look so much fuller.
Yeah.
Like in both photos.
Yeah,
That
keep
was
in
the
mind, it's a
first.
15-pound. It's a 15-pound difference here. So March to gosh, of last week, because I didn't do a check-in this week, so sorry. These are from last week, but about 15 pound increase, which is fun. I think I really didn't get any critiques post-show for certain body parts. It was more so just overall size. So that's also what Justin and I decided was overall size is what we needed. Same shape, just bigger, which is fine. Like I'm okay with that. But I think personally we wanted more adductor, a little more quad. Always could use more lat. And I definitely want some more shoulder cap in my front relaxed. I don't know why they look fine in a front double. It's starting to kind of piss me off a little bit. You know what I mean? I know you guys don't hit a front double, but have you ever hit a front double? Actually, you guys are both really good at shoulders. So
no, well, I'm not. Tanya is. I wonder.
your shoulders are great. So you probably don't understand what I'm talking about here. But
Well, no, but I was going to say I kind of do because I think sometimes that might just have to do with like your width across your top line because I have like very wide up top, so it kind of creates the illusion that I have delts, but like in reality, I don't really.
You do have delts. Both of you do have delts.
I would say I'm eye rolling so hard, but okay.
We are all here to validate each other.
I mean, you could lay it on a little thick here. Like I know, and that's what I think is the most irritating part about my side by sides is literally just like the shoulder cap in the front relax is where I'm like, you know, if they could get the program, that'd be really nice. But
I feel your pain. How often are you training shoulders?
I'll say I do a push day, so it's a push pull leg split, but then I also have an upper accessory day.
Okay.
And I do more shoulders on that day. But it's kind of at the point where I'm thinking I need to throw them in like another time a week.
Yeah.
Like maybe just some laterals.
I was going to say, I feel like shoulders are super easy because I've been kind of doing this on legs. It's so easy. Just, it might seem like a random combination, but even like to start a pull day or to kick off a leg day, just throw in some laterals, or like end with some laterals, but it's a lot easier to blow them off if you leave them to the end because you're like, oh, I'm tired. Whereas like right off the bat, if you knock some out.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm not sure if this might help the both of you, but I've noticed this with just smaller muscle groups. I don't know if people want to call it bro science, but it's just based off my observation with even like the bodybuilders in the past and looking at a lot of people who run the push-pull legs kind of split. I find that it's a kind of muscle where you gotta like really do a lot of like, not a lot, but raise that frequency. Just maybe like even alternate these, just like maybe 15 reps to the front side back, like a tricep, just 3 sets.
Yeah.
You're out. Yeah, that would work.
So I'm thinking they're always been my problem child is my arms and shoulders, which is really funny that we're choosing women's physique now at this point, but they've always been just my problem area.
Yeah.
And I guess just to like segue back the train here a bit. For us, it was a reverse. So this is like my first push phase for off season. So we're gonna do a cleanup here in I think a week or two. So this is gonna be like basically peak of push one for me. And it was kind of a slow increase. Like I didn't do weekly cheat meals probably up until about a month ago. I was pretty strict on my off season plans. And I would say up until another month, so probably about 2 months ago, I finally was like getting some bigger jumps food wise to where I was actually either holding weight or losing weight.
Wow.
So that was super fun and nice. But then this last 2 weeks here towards the end, it's like I don't know if you noticed it, like every cheat meal that you've had, sometimes that weight kind of sticks. So I'm at that point
Yeah.
that every time I have a cheat meal at this point, like for the longest time was having a hard time getting into the 170s. Not that it was like we need to be in the 170s, but then I had a cheat meal 2 weeks ago and it brought me into like the mid 170s. And we kind of just stuck there. Like now I really don't go below 171. So I just haven't, and part of me mentally it's a little but I don't think it looks bad because that's what we are here in this right side, I guess, for most people.
Hopefully.
The right side. Yeah, we'll see. I know I'm wearing a black suit in both of them. The one where my hair looks lighter. The ones where the photos are a little lighter.
Yeah.
The back ones. That one's the current one, in case you got to question it. But that's a little bit of a mental thing too. But I think the heaviest I've ever been is right at that 179, so about 180. So we're about peak heavy that I've ever been. And it looks fine. It doesn't look bad.
No, it looks great.
I'm not upset with it. I don't know what the goal is as far as how much weight we want to lose for a recomp. I know the recomp is going to be about 6 weeks. And then we'll do another push up until December and then start dieting again in December.
Cool.
It's super fun.
Do you guys have like a weight where you feel the best in, or you feel like, because I know sometimes the men are always talking about like, their off seasons, they feel they don't and feel the best at a certain point in their off seasons. But I feel like it's just different for women, especially for people like us who are newer pros who actually do need a little bit more muscle. So I don't know if you girls feel like, yeah.
I would say visibly what I'm most comfortable with is probably about 165 to 168.
Yeah, same for me.
Yeah.
Like that's where I feel like I visually am like, okay, like tank top, this looks great. We're kind of we're starting at the phase where I'm like, nah, I don't like the way these pants are fitting. I don't like the way, like where you're starting to feel a little biscuity, a little can of biscuity.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks, obviously, when you look at check-ins and you start looking at these, you're like, is it really that big of a difference? Like,
no, I know that's
that's
the crazy thing.
But it feels different. Like we're at the point where I sit down, I'm like, yeah, we feel a little chunky now. But I don't think it looks bad.
For me, even just the past like couple weeks, and sure, like summer is finally here in Arizona, and it's hot. But honestly, like it's normally like been in the hundreds, and it's been relatively cool. It's been like 90s to 100. I just feel like as soon as I wake up in the morning, like once I do my cardio, I am just sweating all day. Like I get in the gym and I am just sweating. I'm like, this isn't it. Yeah, well, hopefully.
Yeah, it's just uncomfortable. It's a little uncomfortable. But I
talk about this like quite often. And I just think like it gets easier to deal with the longer you're in it. But I just like cover up. Like I don't need to be staring at myself, taking selfies. I don't want to go into the gym and be like, oh my God, I look fat. Like I don't need that mentality when I'm training, And
just
like
want comfortable clothing.
Yeah. And as I feel like the three of us kind of have this sense of like, I'm not necessarily overly confident in myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know like there's a phase that like there's a reason we're a little uncomfortable right now and it will pay off. So I just have this way of like, how I look now doesn't matter. How people perceive me now doesn't matter because I know I did this on purpose and I know I can peel it off and it'll have a purpose too.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel, since all of us are kind of like baby pros in a way, do you feel like that first bit after going pro that you had a little more like eyes on you and like a more like a higher standard to look a certain way?
No.
No.
No. Not really.
Zero pressure.
Yeah, not really.
given I had a bunch of really nice people in my circle that even just like people at my gym, there's a few pros, but there's not a whole, it's not oversaturated by any means. So, not like putting myself down by saying this, but any amount of muscle on a woman is impressive. So, of course, people were like, you look like a pro, blah, 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 like before I even got there, which is very sweet, even though I didn't see myself like that. But I feel like I do, at least at the very beginning of my reverse, like I did have a little bit of internal pressure just with myself that I felt like I needed to maintain a certain look to be worthy of still calling myself a pro, even if I was going to be in an off season.
I think being a pro runs far deeper than having the pro card, right? Like, I think we wanted to have this conversation as well. It's about what you're doing, on the day to day behind the scenes.
Yeah.
It's like I know I'm executing everything that I should be, but I feel like just people, that's why I love being around people who just get it, because yes, maybe you're a little fluffier and like have excess body fat on you right now, but it's for a reason. It's not just me being lazy.
Mm-hmm.
But since I have got myself into that hole where I coached myself for a little bit and I got sloppy, for lack of a better word, now that this does not look sloppy, but just increasing and like not having as many lines sometimes is a little mental where I'm like, oh,
Of
I'm
course.
getting sloppy again.
I mean, you can always know that, this was necessary. Like, losing a bit of lines is necessary. Like, we all struggle with that, but it doesn't mean it's wrong to feel, a little bit disheartened about it.
Yeah, it's sad seeing them go.
I always just think like it's fine to have emotions about it and like feel that way. It's just like not about letting yourself like live there.
Or what
like,
you do about it.
Yeah. Like I'm not restricting myself because that I want to maintain a certain look. And I've heard some girls kind of do that post show. I think some girls we competed with back in December really struggled with kind of letting go. And I think it was a good chunk of people who got their pro cards where it's just the pressure to maintain a certain image because you do post a lot of how that looks. But I think it's easier actually just to keep posting the off season at this point. So that way people are like, oh yeah, like this is just what she looks like right now. She doesn't look like how she looked back in December.
Yeah.
Because that is now 30 pounds ago.
Yeah.
I would say, sorry, Jess.
Oh no, and I was just gonna say, it's kind of like, we kicked this pod off talking about how great Meg looks like year round. And I also think like the more experienced pros are probably sharing their off season, and it kind of gives a skewed image as to like when you're coming up, like you're probably not going to look that good. Like some people might.
Yeah.
When you're first starting out in the first off season, I noticed that would probably be if you do it right, you will get leaner in every off season because there will always be like a new baseline.
Exactly.
So that would be like the fattest off season that you would ever have. Yeah, and I think like Haley touched on a very good point that everyone, all the listeners can take away is, as long as if you try to your best to surround yourself with really good people who understand, that's what really matters. And at the end of the day, yes, of course we don't like losing the lines. None of us do. Even all three of us, like somewhere we're all like a little bit body dysmorphia somewhere.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like if you are really doing everything and following the plan, losing a little bit of lines is fine. Because as long as in prep and you get on stage, when you're really on, it would shut people up.
Yeah.
Because you can't say shit about somebody or like talk bad about a person. Sorry, I just
I like it. We're passionate.
Yeah.
Lay it down.
Go for it.
Like, you can talk shit about someone, but if they're always on when they get on stage and their conditioning is like another level, you really can't talk shit about them. They always get in shape.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how you look right now. We can all look good yesterday, tomorrow, but no one's judging the off season.
Yeah.
I am. I'm judging my own off season.
If you get a little too full send, then we might be like,
that's what like I just know what it's like to mess up a reverse. This is my first time actually not just like either being left in the dark by a coach to do my own off season or just kind of with a coach who doesn't know quite maybe how to structure an off season. So a lot of that stress is actually on Justin's shoulders because I just listened to what he's telling me.
Yeah.
But it makes a huge difference. I'm not one of those people that just increase the calories and get back to baseline. I don't think that will ever work for me, but kudos to the people who it does.
No, but I would just say, like, that's why I say as long as you're following the plan, it's okay. Like, it doesn't mean you feel any better about it, but we are here to tell you it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's only when you haven't been following, then do you really? I don't want to for this to come off the wrong way, but do you really have a right to not be upset then about the way you look?
Yeah.
Because you are what is the same thing as like you can't be upset about the results that you didn't work for.
Yep. Yeah, that's honestly all it really comes down to.
No. Some of it needs to be a little tough love too, like I wish I would have had a few people maybe in my corner last year before, or maybe even before that, because now we've been a whole year with Justin, but just when I kind of was doing my own coaching and I was a little out of shape and I kind of voiced that, hey, these are kind of my plans. I kind of wish I would have had a few people like, you know what, baby, you don't need to eat that much. I don't think. I think you're doing okay. I know it wasn't their job, but like, just as other people, it's nice to have other sets of eyes to kind of give opinions.
Yeah.
Not that you need that many chefs in the kitchen, but even just like having other girls be like, oh, you know what? Like, I don't think you need to increase calories anymore at this point. You're doing just fine.
Well, okay, but I have a question for the both of you because I know Haley, you mentioned like being just surrounded by good people, both to remind you that maybe you don't need to eat that much or it's okay to look the way you do in the off season. But what about for the girls? Because not everyone has, a good social of people. Like they're not very much involved in the industry and have a lot of people that are in this sport that understand and are surrounded by. How would you advise them then if they don't really have anyone who understand and they're struggling with the reverse?
I definitely think depending on like how far you want to take this sport, kind of depends on the answer to this. But I would say if you're looking to kind of do what we do, where you do want to do this pretty well, perhaps get to the Olympia someday, you gotta do, I think you do need to make friends that do what you do and find like-minded people. But in the meantime, maybe I kind of wish I would have followed on at least social media because this is an easy one. Follow girls who are more realistic to where I am, but also have girls that are light years ahead of you. I think having a good mix instead of just always, because I was guilty of only having pro girls who have been pros for the past 5 to 10 years. And so they're just very in a different phase than I am. Not that I can't get there, but it can be a little discouraging depending on how your mindset works. To see that all the time, either that's going to make you feel, oh, I can never do this and this isn't for me, or it'll give you that little kick in the ass to be like, you know what, like I really need to crank it up a notch.
Yeah.
It depends on the person's mentality too, like what's going to be more beneficial.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point.
But, it just takes time. As a woman, it just takes time to build muscle too. So it's hard to get discouraged sometimes when you see these girls and it's only been 1 year and they already look so much better than I do in the amount of year that I've worked. And that's what then like the PED stuff is a good conversation to start having with people. And that's a hot topic. I got asked a lot about PED stuff that we'll eventually have to talk about a little bit. Just for education, at least.
Yeah, we're not, all three of us are not here to just pretend that we're natural.
No, I'll never lie about that. No. That's ridiculous. It helps nobody. It helps nobody, really. Doesn't help me.
Yeah.
Doesn't help, whoever watches these. And
like, what are you trying to achieve?
Yeah. I don't want to look natural. I want you to look at me and be like,
also valid.
Right, yeah.
But like in a good way, I want you to do a second glance and be like, there ain't no way that lady's natural.
Yeah, so
all right, Jen.
Yes.
Honestly, like following Haley, it's like, all right, well, I've done pretty much the same thing. I think I have like 20 pounds difference between these pictures.
You say 28?
I think like 20. I want to say on the left I'm between 167, maybe even 170. I think right around 167. On the right,
okay.
I should have taken recent pictures. This is from like a couple weeks ago because I haven't taken pictures in a minute. I think I was 178 there, but I'm like 180, 181. And honestly, huh?
Sorry, I'm just yapping while I'm just like, okay. Like hyping me up. Like,
and yeah, just been a lot of focus on everything, honestly. Delts and quads, I think, are going to be like a perpetual thing for me. I do feel like more recently I've been able to shift just a little bit. I've moved like one of my quad movements to a glute ham movement, and I might be able to gradually maybe add in another ham movement on my delt day. That's something I messed with yesterday. And maybe add in that whole extra push day. But I'm going to take a deload in the end of June, which is very needed. And then I'm honestly not really sure what my plans are from there. I don't know if I'm going
to. I'm not personally picking out any shows until we even see what's available for next year. It'll be close to what's.
Oh no, I wouldn't do a show until if I compete next year.
Oh no.
Huh?
It was just the reaction. So, oh no, I'm not.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to imply, oh, I might do a show. If I even do a show next year, it wouldn't be until like a later show. But like you mentioned that you were gonna do like a cleanup and then diet again in December. I have no idea.
So first half of the season, I reckon, for you, Haley. That's what you're looking at. Hopefully.
Huh?
Is Haley looking like a first half of the season kind of thing?
No, I don't even know if I want to compete next year, but maybe like the end. I did.
Yeah, so it might be like mid to end, probably for me, like spring.
Yeah.
Spring at the earliest. It kind of depends how fast everything kind of tapers down and what it kind of looks like.
Yeah,
we could always jump ship anytime.
Yeah, that's what I would probably be thinking around those lines. I think for me the biggest consideration is when would air tickets not be so expensive?
Yeah,
you gotta buy them now. You gotta buy your tickets tomorrow for next year.
Like I have to buy them in advance because they cost a couple of grand.
Who? Yeah, anybody listening want to start sponsoring all of our trips?
Right. Hey, Southwest, we got a deal for you.
Imagine having like a united sponsorship.
But I think it would be cool if it just so happened that three of us would end up in the same show. I would love to do
my
USA debut with your pro debuts. And then we can make a fucking mess team.
I'd cry.
That would be so much fun.
Right?
We wouldn't even get on stage. We would just cry in the back.
Yeah, if you two do the same one, then I'll come be a spectator.
I'm making fat heads on a stick. You can pick out which picture, though. I'll let you have that. You can pick out what pretty picture of your face you want, but I'm going to UPS making fat heads.
Okay.
We're going to need to create t-shirts.
You know, I'm with you on that. Either we do the really corny ones with all of our faces a million times.
I was just going to say that's what we would need.
Yeah. Or it's got to be like, we got to make it cool and use one of the cool stage shots, all black and white. Like whatever photographer does that with the pictures before the cool people compete. Always love those. Christina has one. Mendoza, beautiful. Love those. I don't think I'm cool enough for one of those yet. Maybe a couple years from now.
I don't think I'm following. It's a cutout.
I used to, so like it's still just like a black t-shirt usually, but they just do a black and white photo. And it's just like one of your really nice like Gilco pictures on there. And they always do them before you compete.
Okay.
They look really cool, but like I don't think I'm quite at that tier. I prefer the comical one, I think.
Just wait for when all three of us are ready to kind of like look the way Christina does.
Right.
She's crazy, actually.
Yeah.
Were you done yapping, Jessica, about your pictures?
Yeah, sorry to cut you off. I was just gonna ask, like, what was your biggest takeaway for your first push-up and then cleaning up? And then, what's something that, was different this round for you compared to maybe previous off seasons?
Who's going first?
No, I'll just ask Jess because like she did talk much. Not
That's
making
like
her talk.
this.
I don't know. I think I just need to keep doing what I'm doing. Just more of it. I don't know. I don't know. It's
valid. Are you doing like weekly? So I assume in prep, did you do like weekly tissue sessions and all that fun stuff for recovery?
God, I honestly, I wish I could go weekly. It's so fucking expensive. So I do.
To be honest, maybe every 2 weeks.
Maybe every 3. I've actually. It's funny you
Okay.
asked this now because like I don't know where the time has gone for some reason. Like I haven't gone and gotten body work in like probably over a month, but that wasn't intentional. I need to get back on going like every 3 weeks, and I do mostly. Well, what I do weekly is my sauna and cold plunge little thing. I really do
At
love
least you
them.
do that.
And then I'll usually get some dry needling done. And then I also have a lady out here who's incredible with the new fit machine, and she does deep tissue work. And that always like really helps me.
I know I need to do that. I not gonna lie to you, I did it weekly during prep. So for like 4 months, I was doing it weekly, getting deep tissues. And at one point, I think probably 3 months out, I switched to doing 2 sessions a week. So I would do one for my lower half, one for my upper, like 90-minute sessions each. So I was spending a pretty penny on massages, but it was well worth it, obviously.
Yeah.
But my goodness, yeah, I haven't probably gone in about a month now. If Justin listens to this, no, you didn't. You didn't hear me say that. Okay? I'm doing weekly tissue work.
Yeah, I need to be better. I need to be better. Do either of you do anything like at home with just like scraping with a cup or anything like that? Because I do try to be good about that, at least like on my quads.
Have you ever taken like a 45 bar at the gym and just rolled it down your quads, like sat on a bench and like rolled it?
Oh, I haven't, but I've heard that's also a good one. We also
It's
have
super
those.
weird
We
to
also
do.
have at our gym like these steel, just like roll. They're basically like a foam roller, but they're steel, and you just kind of like
Nice.
set it on yourself, and yeah.
My chiropractor back home has those. Those are so nice, actually. And they were like a newer, those are expensive
Oh, I bet because
to
they're
just
fucking.
leave lying around. They're expensive. But a 45 bar works phenomenally well. It just looks uncomfy. And I don't like doing it if the gym's busy because you look like an asshole taking a 45 bar and just like taking it to roll on your leg.
Yeah.
Do you guys feel when you do all that mobility stuff and like all the core work more religiously, maybe like the frequency that you have to go for this kind of stuff? I mean, of course, with dry needling, deep tissue, sauna, cryotherapy, it does cover what ourselves foam rolling would not do. I've found when I'm more on top of these things, my frequency having to go for those, if I do go for those, it's reduced by a lot.
Now that you mention it, I'm like, this is the first kind of year that I've actually taken like mobility and foam rolling and my own personal like recovery more seriously.
Oh, it's
And
so important.
Yeah. Which is probably why maybe you didn't actually feel like the need to go.
Yeah, I was like, maybe that's why I haven't. Because normally I'll be like, oh, something's tight. And like, I have been dealing with like an adductor glue thing. And Dawn, the new fit lady, was able to like mostly work it out. But I finally ended up deciding that maybe I just got like an ever so slight strain. So I started using a little BPC 157.
Okay.
And it still bugs me a little bit, but I mostly just ignore it. But aside from that, I have been feeling pretty good. And I think
that's pretty minimal, really. Like, I assume I'm the worst at that stuff too. I just assume a little ache and pain comes with this. And most of the time, I'm just like, you're just being a little puss. Like, you just need to nut up, buttercup, and just do it.
I will say point, sorry, go ahead.
No, I mean, I just know better. And sometimes it's not that. Like, I need to either take some more rest days or do some more mobility and tissue work.
I will say at this point, like, I am really looking forward to this deload, like just
And you
week
should.
off. Yeah, because I haven't had one. And what is actually starting to bug me is my elbow.
Oh yeah.
So I think I'm hoping just like that week off of just like, I don't know, doing nothing. I'll come back like ready to go.
I think in my journey when I first started, deloads for me were more just like lightweight. Like I would go in the gym a couple times, do some lightweight, get some blood flow, get a pump. Now the more experience that I've gotten, it's a full rest.
Yeah.
There's no gym time. We do steps and cardio, but there is no deload week where in like a traditional sense you're doing lighter weight and doing that kind of stuff. So it's just full rest for me at this point.
That's what I do because like I can't just go in the gym and just like half-ass it. My one of the guys I train with, he'll sometimes do a devolume week. And I might give that a try like once I'm back if I'm feeling a little fatigued. Like you still train hard and you'll still do like try to break the logbook on your top set, but you'll pretty much just do like one top set of everything and knock off your back off set. And I feel like I would still enjoy that. So that might be a good way for me, like for the second half.
I tried that too.
Yeah.
It doesn't work for me.
No. I feel like I was gonna say I feel like it could either like be a good solution, but I think you would need to like be so in tune with like your mental and your body that you need to like take it before you really see it happening.
Yeah.
So you can go even further. Whereas I think something like that, if you wait until you feel fatigued, all it's doing is just like continuing to dig the hole deep.
Yeah, because like your sleep gets affected, digestion gets affected, and maybe you don't even want to go to the gym.
Honestly, that's the one thing that I look for to take a deload because I know deloads are kind of a hot topic right now, and I think a lot of people are like, you don't need a deload.
And overtraining is a hot topic right now too.
I know. I'm sorry. The way I train, I can use a deload. I'm not gonna freaking sit here and argue about it.
No, yeah, like
but I'm also so like I love training that I don't necessarily always like listen to like, oh, my body's sore, I should take some time off. I listen to like, I don't really feel like training today. And if I kind of have that sentiment like more than 3 days in a row, like that's how I know like, oh, I probably need a deload. And that happens like twice a year, you know, it's not like every 6 weeks. I'm like, oh, I don't really feel like training.
Yeah.
So I will say that is where I'm at right now. Not really where I'm at in terms of like hating the gym, but I just sent my check-ins to Justin this morning and I told him I think I need a deload because I gave him that feedback last week. I said, I'm thinking maybe it's just one of those weeks where I'm a little bit low. And then that's where he threw in my cheat meal. And it was better for like the first day back to training after the cheat meal. And the second day was all right. But it was more like I was just gaslighting myself. But I know it was slipping again.
Yeah.
And then today after legs, I was telling my boyfriend the other just now, I was like, I feel horrible.
Yeah. We need more deload and it's hard. I'd rather be conservative with it and just do like 1 or 2 days, see how I feel. But usually I'm opting for like 3 to 4 days in a row consecutively.
Yeah, usually just 5 days consecutively.
That's kind of where I'm inching up towards too, and that makes me so nervous. But I know I need it, but I just miss the mental aspect of it. So that's the hard part for me.
Yeah. I feel like I always get lucky. So like I'm going home, so I'm just gonna like take it off and it's just like also easier and less stressful to worry about like coordinating a gym. So I'll have that to kind of, I would say entertain me. I'll probably be bored to death, but
no, that's what I do. I scheduled around trips like that.
Yeah, so I'll have that. But otherwise, like I feel like I've gotten kind of lucky. I'll like think, okay, I'm gonna like take a deload this week, and out of nowhere, like work will get so busy, and it's nice just to like lean into work and have that like pass by me. So it's like, thank you, Iron Gods.
You just brought up a very good point, because scheduling with deloads around trips would be a good way for people to get their mental reset. But at the same time, when we're talking about trips, I know a lot of people who want to go on holiday the moment the show is over. So my advice usually would be, go for your holiday when the reverse is complete-ish.
Amen. Amen.
Obvious.
Oh God, because I've done that too, where you have a vacation right after you get off stage. It sounds like the best idea because you think you look good, you're gonna enjoy it. It's the worst decision you could possibly make, I think. For a new competitor, it's one of the worst things you could possibly do for yourself.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel so bad about yourself when you come back.
Yeah.
The mental aspect is absolutely exhausting. Because then I feel like you gotta play catch up too.
But it's tough for us international competitors sometimes, because we travel so far.
That is true, though.
We want to explore the country a little bit. So previously with my previous shows, like I think that's where I learned a lot about that self-discipline, because I really had to like teach myself, like, okay, even just, it's gonna be different for everyone. But I'm lucky that I have, because I always take my parents with me for my shows. So yeah, my mom has not missed a single sporting competition of mine since I was.
What a woman! That's so sweet.
Yes. Yeah, she's always there. So like she's kind of like, in your checklist when you travel, mom.
Aww.
I love when parents just don't know a lick about kind of what you're doing, but they're like, it's really cool, but she's like in her undies. With spray tan.
My mom said she wanted a picture of me for her work, and I was like, are you sure? Really?
No, my mom was the same way. She's like, I'm gonna put you on the wall. And I was like, maybe make sure it's not like the first thing people see. Because they're gonna think you're into some weird stuff when really I'm just your kid. But
yeah.
It's so cute though. But I realize what we do is so strange to like just the general public. It's you just forget.
I know. I thought she'd be like a little embarrassed, so I'm glad she's not embarrassed.
No, my mom's about that.
Yeah.
She goes to work and she's like, by the way, my daughter's an IFBB. I'm like, Mom, quiet down. Quiet on set. You're embarrassing me.
You know what's funny is like, the other day, speaking of like, you mentioned, oh, do you feel like you need to uphold an image now that you're a pro? And it's like, I've got the IFBB Pro sticker on my backpack or whatever.
Same.
And when I come in, sometimes I'm like, I mean, you guys know how I dress. I kind of look like a slob. And I'm like, people must be like,
I do.
What is this girl? And the other day, some guy that like, he's always there like doing weird stuff. And he looks at my bag and he points to it and he's like, are you a pro? And I'm kind of thinking to myself, like, you know me, I want to be like, oh no, that's just there for kicks. And he's like, so I'm like, yes, I am. And he's like, nice to meet you. I'm Justin. And he shakes my hand and I'm just like, are you only like introducing yourself to me because I'm a pro and you think I'm like important or something? Because I can assure you I'm not.
At least he was questioning whether you are really a pro just because
I know. It's like,
do you think people buy those patches just to like put them on their bag without actually being a pro? Because that's embarrassing.
I know people like that. And
I'd take the patch off their bag. Just rip it off real quick. I can't do that. That would embarrass the living crap out of me.
Yeah,
I can't do that.
No.
It's okay. I've been asked the same thing though. Don't feel bad.
And it's one of those things where it's like, okay, when you're at the gym and like you're on a piece of equipment like halfway across the gym and some guy is like, hey, are you using this all the way over here? And you're like, does it look like I am? And I can understand like, okay, it's a way to like start conversation, but
I don't care. It's rude.
It's still a little dumb.
Yeah. I had a guy come up and ask me while I was doing mid lateral raises.
Yeah.
And he like, because I had my stuff over by a cable, and he's like, are you using buddy? I'm like mid set. Can you wait?
Yeah, that's the thing is gym etiquette. You can just wait for the person to finish a set. I've had people follow me throughout the gym. Like, follow me throughout the gym, like, are you using this? Are you using this? I'm like, why do you keep coming to me if I'm using this? Like, can we share? Like, do you want to share? Like, so are you asking me if I want to do that exercise with you? Because I'm not.
I know. I feel like if we would dress a little differently, maybe we would get treated slightly differently. But also, the people who have been in this long enough know that the scariest people are the people who wear sweatpants and hoodies and sweatshirts. Like, those are the people I'm scared of. Those people mean business, okay?
You know what else is my favorite? Sorry, not to keep going back to this, but it's like our one gym has an entire section, like it's a totally separate building just for legs. And this will happen even at the normal gym. You walk in, someone will be like, "Oh, what are you training today?" And it's like, "Well, I'm on the leg side. I'm probably training legs better on the pull down machine." Hey, what are you training today?
It's okay. I throw them for a loop on my pull days. They're like, "Oh, she's in the leg room and the upper body room."
That's actually true. My pull days, I also do legs, but still, it's the concept. It's like I'm sitting on the leg extension. Like, can we just safely assume that I'm not training delts on the leg extension, or do we really?
They want to talk to you, Jess.
I know. And it's just like,
yeah,
they want to make sure you're eligible. They have to have a way to start getting a rapport with you.
They want to see if I'm a mute or not.
They gotta make sure. And you know what? Some people actually, not to segue down this, but I will say one time back home at the gym, that's just a tiny little itty bitty baby gym in Wichita. I had they were probably, they had a guest pass at the gym that I was training at. And he didn't have any reason to come up and talk to me. We have a little stereo system in there where you can change the music on your phone. But it was only people who like were very consistent there, that was like your home gym, that you could do that. So I was one of those people that was allowed to change the music. So I was hooked up to it, and he realized that I was hooked up to it. So he came up, asked me a question, just something silly about like the music. And after I'd made a comment, he's like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "I really didn't care about what the answer was to that question. I just want to see how you talked." Yeah.
And what did he find out after that? Like,
not good things, ladies. Not good things. He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "You sound exactly how I thought you did." And I was like, it was one of the rudest interactions I've ever had, just as a woman at the gym.
Yeah.
I don't know why that reminded me of that, but it did.
You wanted to see if your voice was deep?
Uh-huh.
I think that's probably it.
Because I don't even think your voice is deep.
I mean, she's a little croaky today. She's a little croaky in general. But to the extent that's the first time I think I've ever had anybody just outwardly be rude, like they would on like a comment section on Instagram. He just outwardly was like, "Yeah, I just basically wanted to hear what you sound like because you look like you're on gear. So I just want to see what a woman on gear sounded like."
Oh my God. Where did you find that audacity?
I mean, I think it was just us two in the gym, but it was crazy. Welcome to the Midwest.
Wow.
No, sorry. I was just going to say, like, I'm surprised that you girls deal with it in America, because I thought it was like, the most liberal country. Like, I thought
depends on the section.
I feel like it's like with anything. I feel like that was kind of a one-off thing. I don't think people really have the cojones to be that rude.
No, that was bold.
Yeah. I think, like, don't get me wrong, I know there's a lot of hate out there on like social media and stuff, but people are just really brave behind a keyboard.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Whereas that, like, that's just freaking.
No, it was crazy. I completely forgot that even happened to me until right now.
That's pretty rough.
Something jogged my memory. Something had the synapses firing, and it does happen, but it's pretty rare.
Yeah. I hate to cut this short. I do need to eat and get to work. Do you guys want to keep talking and I'll on, or?
It's okay. We can go home.
I'm not kicking you out, but.
No, we can go home. It's okay. I also should do some fasted this morning.
I fortunately did perfect because I'm like pretty caught up on cardio, but I need to work, and if I don't eat pretty soon, then I'm.
All right, we can always continue this conversation next week or something. Yeah.
So
that's okay. That'll be a good pause segue because eventually I feel like drug stuff is a hot topic.
Oh yeah.
So we can pick it up on another episode.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
Okay, that would be cool.
All right, that was fun. Well, thank you, ladies.
I had a lot of fun today.
I'm not saying
I didn't have fun every week.
I have fun every time.
It's so natural.
Me too.
Because like, we talk on our little chat like
Yeah.
almost every day, and then like this is like that one opportunity to just
it's my live.
It's a break.
It's a live version of the chat.
Everyone gets to see our FaceTimes.
It's basically what this is.
Yeah.
I love that people love it.
All right, cool. Well, I'll talk to you in like 5 minutes, probably.
Yeah.
Enjoy it.
Enjoy
Enjoy
day.
it.
Good night.
I will.
Good evening. Good morning.
Bye.
Peace out.
Bye, ladies.
Wait. Don't go off yet.
Okay.
You need to take a picture.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Are we all doing the same picture? I'll do it too.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I love that Tanya does the publicity for us. Our marketing manager.
Thank you.
Oh yeah, I like to do all these little stuff. Like, okay, just wait for it. Just wait for it.
Build the hype. But okay.
I know.
Bye.
You're doing great.
See you. Take care.
Talk to you guys in a little bit.
Bad bitch, I'm a